Thunder rolled across the storm-lit sky, and the iron gates of the Westwood estate groaned open like they were warning her to turn back. Beyond those gates, the city was alive. Cars, sirens, endless motion. But inside these walls, there was silence. Not peaceful silence, not gentle quiet. A suffocating silence. A silence built from fear. A taxi rolled away, leaving a young woman standing alone beneath flickering lamps. A faded leather bag hugged tight to her chest. Her breath, ghost-like, puffed into the cold air as she stared up, way up at the sprawling mansion looming over her like a lonely fortress. Her name? Elena Brooks, 23, new housekeeper, last chance. She whispered to herself a fragile pep talk meant to steady her nerves. You can do this, Elena. One chance. Don't ruin it. The mansion felt wrong the moment she stepped toward it. No lights inside, not a sound, no life. It looked less like a place where children lived, and more like a museum trapped in grief. She lifted her hand, knocked, nothing. She knocked again, louder, still nothing. Then the door yanked open. A tall man stood there, stone-faced, sharply dressed, every emotion perfectly removed. His jaw looked carved from glass, and his ice-blue eyes felt like judgment. Jonathan Westwood, CEO, Millionaire, the man who hired her. He didn't greet her, didn't smile, didn't hide his disappointment. You're late, he cut. Voice clipped and cold. Elena checked her phone instinctively. Sir, the storm. Excuses waste time. He turned, already walking. Follow me. No offer to carry her bag. No glance back. She hurried after him, her footsteps echoing in a hallway too quiet, too clean. Chandeliers hung like frozen fireworks. Furniture stood untouched, display pieces instead of comfort. No family photos, no toys, no warmth. This wasn't a home. It was a prison made of money. Jonathan walked fast, speaking without turning. You will work from dawn until my children sleep. They require constant supervision. Elena nodded. Of course, Mr. Westwood. You will follow my rules. Exactly. No improvisation, no affection, no sudden gestures. They do not respond well to unpredictability. Elena frowned. Your children? How many? He stopped at the grand staircase. 2. His voice cracked, so small she almost missed it. They haven't spoken a word in over a year. The weight of those words, heavy enough to crush. A year? Barely a whisper. He nodded, jaw tightening. Trauma changes children. Elena studied him. The rigid posture, the clenched hand, the pain he tried to bury. There was more here. So much more. But he wasn't letting her see it. You will meet them in the morning. Your room is down that hall. He turned to leave, but paused. Elena. She straightened, surprised he used her name. You are here for one purpose. Make their lives manageable. His voice wavered, a fracture beneath steel. They do not trust anyone. His eyes locked with hers. Stern, desperate, terrified. I cannot afford another failure. Elena's chest tightened. I won't fail them. He studied her 1 second longer, then walked away, back into his lonely silence. Elena breathed out shakily, clutching her bag. She had known pain, had known fear, had known abandonment. Maybe that was why she was here now. Maybe she could understand them. She moved down the hallway, toward the guest room Jonathan mentioned, until a soft creak. She turned slowly. Halfway down the hall, a boy stood watching her. Blonde hair messy, blue eyes wide with fear. A tiny body holding a red toy car as if it was his shield. He couldn't be older than 5. Elena knelt, voice soft as breath. Hello. The boy didn't blink, didn't move, didn't speak. A shadow beside him shifted. A little girl. Same blonde hair, same wide eyes. She held a yellow rubber duck, her tiny fingers squeezing it like a lifeline. Elena smiled gently. You must be Lucas and Lily. No reaction, only silence. But their silence spoke. Pain, loss, fear beyond their age. Elena lowered herself more, making herself small, not threatening. I'm Elena. I'll be staying with you, and I would really like to be your friend. Their eyes flickered, a spark she couldn't translate. They backed away, slowly, disappearing into shadows. Elena didn't chase. You don't run toward traumatized children. You wait. You let them decide when the world is safe. In the guest room, perfect sheets, perfect walls, perfect emptiness. Elena felt something unsettling. Nothing was this perfect unless it was hiding something. Outside, thunder roared. Rain streaked the window like tears from a sky too full to hold itself together. Elena pressed her palm to the glass. "What happened to you two?" she whispered. She wasn't sure if she meant the children or their father. A knock jolted her. Jonathan stood in her doorway, stiffer now, mask back on. "If you need anything, the staff wing remains locked. Breakfast is at 7 sharp. Rules, routine, control." But beneath his voice, unspoken fear. Elena tried gently. "Mr. Westwood, why did your children stop speaking?" Silence, a long silence. Then, they saw something they never should have. His voice trembled. "And their mother didn't survive." Elena's breath shook. "I'm so sorry." Jonathan nodded once, quick, mechanical, and left before his emotions could betray him. The door clicked shut. Elena stared at it. This job wasn't about dusting shelves. It was about resurrecting broken hearts. She lay down, knowing morning would come fast. At first light, Elena dressed, smoothed her clothes, calmed her breath. The mansion was brighter now, but the silence still ruled. In the dining room, 3 figures. Jonathan, upright, rigid. Lucas and Lily, motionless, ghost-like. Elena greeted them softly. No response. She knelt beside Lucas first. "That's a cool car," she whispered. "What's its name?" Lucas stared at the toy, then at her. A spark. A beginning. She turned to Lily. "That duck must be special. Does it help you feel safe?" Lily's tiny breath quivered. But no words. Elena saw something in Jonathan's eyes she didn't expect. Fear. The fear of hope. Hope could hurt. "We have therapists," he muttered. "Progress, non-existent." Elena whispered back. "Sometimes silence isn't a refusal. Sometimes it's a shield." His stare, anger, and desperation mixing like poison. "You think you can fix them?" "No." She held his gaze. "They can fix themselves, if someone believes in them." Something warm flickered in his eyes. Just once. Later, in the playroom, toys untouched, children small against too much space. Lucas spun his car's wheels. Lily tapped her duck softly. Elena sat near them, not close enough to threaten, not far enough to ignore. She spoke about a silly cat who thought he was a lion. A tiny peek from Lucas. Lily's hand paused. Progress. Then Jonathan stormed in, phone pressed tight, anger exploding. "Your mother was responsible for them," he shouted into the call. "Don't you dare suggest uprooting their lives." Lucas flinched hard. Lily dropped her duck. Their terror, instant, sharp, crippling. Elena moved fast. She placed herself between them and their father, a shield of calm. Jonathan saw their fear, saw himself in it, and retreated into the hallway, voice lowered, guilt heavy as chains. Elena comforted softly. "You're safe. I promise you're safe." Lily stared at her, searching for truth. Elena smiled, warm, steady. Tiny lips parted, a breath. Not yet a word, but a spark. Elena's pulse jumped. The beginning. When Jonathan returned, anger gone, guilt in its place, he whispered, "We'll try again tomorrow." Elena rose slowly. "No, we start today." Jonathan froze, surprised. In that moment, she understood. This wasn't just about helping children. This mansion needed healing too. Whether Jonathan Westwood liked it or not, she was part of this family now. Thunder rolled, an echo of change rattling through the halls. Silence trembled, cracked, shifted. For the first time in a very long time, hope breathed. And somewhere behind 2 tiny guarded hearts, a voice waited, ready to be heard. Hope breathed, and somewhere deep behind those tiny guarded hearts, a voice waited, ready to be heard. Elena didn't celebrate. Not yet. Healing wasn't a miracle that happened in a single moment. It was a long climb, a painful climb. But even one step forward could change everything. She rose slowly from the carpet, giving Lucas and Lily space to settle. Their breathing steadied, though fear still shimmered in their eyes. Jonathan stood frozen in the doorway, hands clenched, posture locked, gaze lowered, like he was afraid to see the ghosts of his failures reflected in his children. Elena stepped closer, calm, steady, real. "They're scared of yelling," she said gently. Jonathan swallowed hard, his jaw tightened. "I know. They're not scared of you," she continued softly. "Just the sound, the sharpness, what it reminds them of." Jonathan's eyes flickered with a pain he never let anyone see. "I will work on it." Elena nodded. "We all will." Jonathan looked at her then, really looked. Not like she was staff, not replaceable, but like she was a lifeline he didn't know he needed. He cleared his throat, stiff, unsure. "Should I stay?" Elena offered a small smile. "Yes, you should stay. Just sit with them." Jonathan hesitated, his fear louder than his footsteps. Then he knelt beside Lucas. Lucas peeked up at him, car clutched tight. He didn't move closer, but he didn't pull away. It was something. Jonathan glanced at Elena, silently begging for guidance. Her eyes told him, "You're trying." That's enough. The moment was fragile until a sharp knock shattered it. "Sir," a staff member said, "you're needed in the office." Jonathan stood reluctantly, smoothing his suit, the armor he hid behind. "I'll be back tonight." Elena could see the battle inside him, duty versus love. "I'll take care of them," she promised. He paused, just one extra heartbeat, before walking away. The silence returned, but not the same silence as before. This one felt hopeful, like the quiet before a flower opens. Elena sat with the children again, pulling a coloring book toward them. A simple page, house, trees, a smiling sun. She colored the sun bright yellow. "My mom used to say," she whispered, "even when the day feels dark, the sun still exists somewhere." Lily lowered her duck just a little. Lucas leaned forward just enough. Elena nudged the red crayon toward Lucas. "You could make the flowers red." Lucas blinked. His hand trembled. Slowly, he reached out. He pressed the crayon to the page. A tiny dot. Just a dot. But Elena smiled as though he had painted the world. "That's beautiful." Lucas's eyes flickered. Surprise, pride, confusion, wonder. He added another mark, then a line. Lily scooted closer, her duck held gently, less like a shield, more like a friend. Elena offered her a blue crayon. Lily's fingers shook, but she took it. A blue petal, 2, 3. Elena's heart warmed, hope blooming right there in front of her. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for sharing this with me." They didn't speak. They didn't have to. Their actions were words. Hours passed in gentle silence. No flinching, no fear, only fragile peace. By lunch, the children sat near her, close, connected. Elena made grilled cheese, crusts cut off just right. They ate, a little, but they tried. Another victory. Jonathan texted, "How are they?" Elena replied with a picture. 2 small miracles coloring quietly. He didn't respond, but she knew he stared at that photo longer than he'd ever admit. Afraid that blinking would erase progress. By afternoon, sunlight faded behind clouds. Lily curled into a chair, duck hugged gently. Lucas traced raindrops down the window like he was mapping his way back to the world. Elena brushed Lily's soft hair. "You're safe," she whispered. "No loud voices, no fear, just peace here." Lily blinked up, then laid her tiny hand on Elena's wrist. Not a word, but a bond. Elena swallowed the lump in her throat and grabbed a storybook with soft drawings. She started reading, voice warm and steady. Lucas leaned against her. Her heart almost stopped. She didn't move, Didn't breathe too loud. Just let him stay. His little weight against her. Trust. Finally, trust. When Jonathan returned, the scene before him stole his breath. His children, touching someone, resting, breathing easy, healing. He stood perfectly still, as if movement might break the spell. Elena met his eyes. "They're tired," she whispered. Jonathan knelt beside his son. His hand hovered above Lucas's back. Fear of doing it wrong. Then Elena nodded gently. "Yes, it's okay." Jonathan placed his hand down, slow, careful. Lucas didn't flinch. He leaned closer. Jonathan's breath cracked. His voice found only one word. "Thank you." Not for help, for hope. Later, after Elena tucked them into bed and left the door cracked open just enough, Jonathan stood watching. Not from distance, but from awe. This was the closest he'd felt to fatherhood in a year. Downstairs, the house felt different. Warmer, alive. Jonathan spoke first. "I haven't seen them this calm since—" He couldn't finish. Elena did. "Since before the storm." He nodded. Something darker simmered behind his eyes. "Elena, a confession forming." She waited. "Her name was Isabella," he whispered. "My wife, my light." Tears threatened, but he fought them back. "We argued that night. Work, time, me." His voice cracked like glass. "She left with the kids, and on the road, silence. A silence soaked in guilt. She didn't make it." He breathed. "And I wasn't there." Elena's heart crumbled. "They saw everything," he whispered. "Everything." His hand clutched the banister, as if the truth might make him fall. "I failed them." Elena stepped forward, voice soft but stronger than steel. "A tragedy happened, but it wasn't your fault." Jonathan laughed bitterly. "If I had just driven, if I had listened, if I—" "You can't rewrite the past," she said firmly. "But you can help write a better future." Jonathan stared, searching her eyes for belief. Forgiveness. Permission to breathe. "You're here now," she told him. "And that matters." A tear escaped. He turned away, ashamed. Elena moved closer. "It doesn't make you weak to cry," she whispered. "It makes you alive." More tears. This time, he let them fall. Elena placed her hand on his arm. Support. Understanding. Presence. Not romance, not yet. Just two broken souls holding each other up for the sake of the little ones who needed them whole. Jonathan wiped his face suddenly. Mask rebuilding. "I should let you rest." Elena nodded, though neither moved for a moment. "Good night, Elena." "Good night, Jonathan." He lingered, then forced himself away. Elena walked upstairs, heart full, eyes tired. As she passed the children's room, she slowed. Lucas's door opened wider than before. A warm glow inside, soft shifting. She stepped closer, quiet as a breath. Lucas stood beside Lily's bed, tiny hand wrapped around hers, protecting her. He leaned toward her ear, and then a voice, so small, so fragile, but real, safe. Elena froze. Her heart soared. Tears spilled. She whispered to herself, a promise fulfilled. "They're coming back. They're coming back." Elena didn't breathe. Not yet. She stayed hidden in the darkness of the hallway, watching something sacred unfold. Lucas squeezed Lily's tiny hand. Lily, half asleep, blinked up at her brother, then pressed her rubber duck gently to his chest, as if giving him courage from her own little heart. Lucas leaned closer, voice trembling through the air. "Safe. Here." 2 words. Elena clamped a hand over her mouth as tears slipped silently down her cheeks. Those 2 words were a lifeline. One syllable at a time, they were coming back to the world. She didn't move, didn't speak, didn't dare interrupt. Some moments aren't meant to be witnessed. But she was grateful she had seen it. Sacred miracles rarely come with applause, only quiet, fragile breaths. Elena backed away slowly, heart pounding with pride and heartbreak. She had only been here one day, and already they spoke. What horrors had locked those voices away? What fear had told them silence was safer than sound? She lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, listening to the mansion breathe differently now. Hope wasn't just alive anymore. Hope was speaking. Morning crept in with soft sun filtering through thick curtains. Elena dressed fast, hands trembling with excitement and nerves. When she entered the dining room, Jonathan was speaking quietly with security staff. Coffee in one hand, exhaustion in his eyes. He looked up, a brittle calm in his voice. "Good morning." Elena stepped closer. No hesitation. "Lucas spoke last night." Everything stopped. Jonathan blinked. Once. Twice. As if his heart refused to let his mind believe. He spoke? Barely a sound. "One word," Elena whispered. "Safe." Jonathan's hand shook. The coffee cup rattled. He set it down before it slipped from his fingers entirely. His breath escaped in a broken whisper. "Thank you." Fear, relief, joy, guilt, all tangled in two trembling words. "He did that," Elena said gently. "Not me." Jonathan wanted to ask more. When? How? What did his voice sound like? But the patter of soft footsteps interrupted him. Lucas and Lily entered, hand in hand. Jonathan stared like they were ghosts he thought he'd lost forever. Lucas looked up at him. Just looked. No panic, no shrinking away. Just a boy seeing his father. Jonathan dropped to one knee, because standing would have towered over hope too much. "Good morning," he whispered. Lucas's lips parted. A breath came forward, small, brave, then stopped. But even the attempt, Jonathan's heart thundered. He blinked back tears with all the force he had left. Lily hopped into her chair first. Lucas followed. Elena prepared plates, gentle, slow movements, so the morning stayed calm. "They look different," Jonathan murmured. "They feel safer," Elena replied. "No loud voices, no unpredictable storms, just connection." Elena leaned in and spoke quietly. No sudden changes, no overwhelming attention, just patience. Jonathan nodded, but his hands still twitched with the urge to pull his children into his arms and never let go again. After breakfast, Elena introduced a soft game. Blocks, lightweight, quiet. Lily placed a block with delicate focus. Lucas copied, setting his car beside him, his safety still within reach. Jonathan watched from the doorway, close, but not too close. Every wobble of the tower made him tense. Every tiny shake, hope hung by a thread. "It doesn't matter if it falls," Elena whispered. "What matters is that they're trying." Jonathan nodded, but his fists stayed clenched. The tower fell. Lily gasped, then giggled, a tiny giggle like snow landing on a leaf. Jonathan slapped a hand over his mouth and stepped back, hiding a year's worth of tears breaking free. Elena pretended not to notice. Some victories are too beautiful to look at directly. Later, Elena suggested the garden. Jonathan stiffened. "That's where she took them. They haven't gone outside since." His voice collapsed into memory. Elena placed a hand on his arm, gentle reassurance. "Then let's help the garden remember joy again." Jonathan nodded, fragile but willing. Outside, the scent of rain hugged the air. A breeze brushed Lily's hair, startling a tiny giggle from her again. Lucas stepped cautiously onto the grass, testing the world beneath him. Elena plucked a yellow flower and held it to Lily. The little girl studied it, sniffed, then pressed it into Elena's palm, her way of giving thanks. Lucas took a step, paused when he noticed everyone watching. Then another step, faster. Wind in his hair, life in his chest. Elena clapped once. "You're faster than the wind." Lucas turned, car raised like a trophy. A smile, small but real, tugged at his lips. And Jonathan, he watched like he had just seen a miracle. Then, a tug on his sleeve. Lily. Jonathan froze. She looked up at him, opened her mouth. Daddy. Jonathan dropped to his knees. Not from fear, not from pain, but from a love so heavy it broke him apart. His arms wrapped around her, gentle, reverent. My sweet girl, Daddy's here. Daddy's right here. Lucas approached, uncertain. Jonathan reached out his hand. Lucas leaned into the embrace, and Jonathan finally let his tears fall into their hair. His children were holding him back. Finally, holding him back. Elena stepped away, heart full, eyes wet, letting the moment belong only to them. But miracles never arrive without a test. That afternoon, Elena overheard Jonathan's voice, low, furious, behind his office door. You will not take my children from me. I don't care what rights you think you have. Elena froze. A woman's voice replied, sharp as a blade. Your wife was my sister. If they're still traumatized, then you are the problem. The call ended like a slammed door. Jonathan leaned against his desk, white-knuckled dread. Elena stepped inside. What's going on? His voice trembled. My sister-in-law. She wants custody. The air tightened. Elena's heart dropped. They're speaking. They're healing, she protested. She says that's because of therapy, not me, he said bitterly. She didn't see what happened today, Elena insisted. But the courts will see the reports, the history, the failures. Jonathan's voice cracked. I wasn't enough for them. Elena grabbed his hands, strong and certain. You are enough, she whispered. We will prove it. One tiny miracle at a time. Jonathan stared at her like she was the only anchor in a raging sea. I'm scared, he confessed. The fear means you love them more than anything, she replied. He nodded, steadying himself. We're not losing them, Elena vowed. The universe heard her and tested her immediately. A scream sliced the air. Lily. Jonathan and Elena ran, hearts pounding. Lily thrashed in her bed, eyes terrified, trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape. Elena reached her first. It's okay. Look at me. You're here. You're safe. Lily's gaze flickered wildly between reality and hell. Jonathan froze, afraid his presence might shatter her further. Then, Lucas climbed onto the bed, arms wrapping around his sister, protective, fierce. Tiny, he whispered, Lily, safe, with me. His shaking slowed, breathing steadied, eyes focused. Then she whimpered, voice cracking. Mommy? The word pierced Jonathan like a knife. Elena stroked Lily's cheek. She loved you. She's watching you. You're not alone anymore. Lily collapsed into Elena's arms, sobbing softly, grief finally escaping the cage silence had built. Jonathan sat beside Lucas, holding him close, his own tears silent but unstoppable. The storm inside this family was far from over. But now, a lighthouse cut through the darkness. Its name was Elena, and its name was Elena. The storm outside rattled the windows, but the bigger storm lived inside Lily, shaking her tiny body with memories too heavy for someone so small. Elena held her close, rocking gently, breathing slow and steady, so Lily's breathing could mirror safety. Lucas clung to his sister, his own tears falling in quiet solidarity. Jonathan stood frozen, wanting to rush in, terrified his presence might make it worse. Elena looked up at him, soft, steady, encouraging. Sit closer, she whispered. Jonathan hesitated. Then he moved, slow steps toward the pain he feared. His hand hovered over Lily's back, unsure, frightened, begging permission to comfort. She didn't flinch. Jonathan's breath stuttered. Elena whispered again, guiding him. Tell them you're here. Jonathan swallowed every fear he ever carried. I'm here, he murmured. Daddy's here, always. Lily's sobs softened. She leaned into them, her protector brother, her grieving father, as if letting others carry the weight she'd held alone for too long. Minutes passed like hours. Then the shaking eased. The storm inside her quieted. Lucas lifted his tiny hand and wiped her cheek. Safe, Daddy, Elena. Jonathan's eyes widened, tears unstoppable. They're speaking, he whispered, voice breaking. They're really speaking. Elena stroked Lily's hair gently. The words were always there, she murmured. They just needed someone to listen. Jonathan exhaled, a breath made of relief and heartbreak. When Lily finally slept, Jonathan carried Lucas to his bed. Lucas refused to let go of his father's shirt until dreams pulled him under. Jonathan tucked him in, fingertips brushing his cheek like a prayer he was afraid to say aloud. Quietly, he whispered to the night, "I can be enough, right?" But that question wasn't meant for Elena. It was meant for the universe. Elena stepped beside him, her hand resting over his. "You already are." Jonathan's eyes closed, letting that truth fill every crack inside him. Downstairs, the mansion felt different now. Not suffocating, healing. Steam curled from untouched chamomile tea as Elena and Jonathan sat together, the soft glow of the kitchen lights turning silence into comfort. "You've changed this home," he said quietly. "In just days." Elena shook her head. "They changed. I just showed up." Jonathan studied her, really studied her. "You showed up when nobody else could," he whispered, "including me." Something warm flickered between them, something quietly growing. Elena looked away, voice gentle but confident. "Families heal together, and you love them more fiercely than you realize." Jonathan's voice dropped, raw honesty exposed. "My fear is louder than my love." "No," Elena corrected softly. "Your fear is love. Loud love." He inhaled, slow, shaky. "You're good with them," he said. "I love them already," she replied, before she could stop the truth. Jonathan's heart stumbled. A knock exploded against the silence. Sharp and angry, Jonathan stiffened instantly. He opened the front door to find a woman, heels, tailored coat, eyes cold as steel. Miriam, Isabella's sister. She pushed past him. "I heard a scream," she snapped. "Is that enough evidence for custody?" Jonathan blocked her path up the stairs. "You will not weaponize their trauma." "They need a stable guardian," Miriam hissed. "Not a father buried in guilt." Elena stepped forward, calm, strong. "They spoke today." Miriam froze. "They spoke?" "Yes," Elena said firmly. "Because they feel safe here." Miriam scoffed. "Convenient timing." Footsteps. Lucas and Lily appeared at the top of the stairs, small, scared, watching. Miriam forced a sweet smile, a fake one. "Lily, darling, come with Auntie." Lily didn't move. Elena whispered from below, only loud enough for them to hear. "Remember what you said last night." Lucas gripped Lily's hand, his voice fragile but brave. "Safe. Here." Jonathan choked on a breath. Shock cracked Miriam's icy composure. "You can visit any time," Elena added, "but you will not take them away from healing." Miriam looked between the children, anger trembling beneath uncertainty. "This isn't over," she spat. Jonathan straightened, calm, resolute. "It just began." The door slammed as she left. Jonathan sagged with relief, knees nearly buckling. Elena rushed to the children, gathering them in her arms. They clung to her, then looked to Jonathan. He opened his arms, and for the first time, they ran into them. Jonathan held them tight, hands trembling with love he nearly lost. "I've got you," he whispered. "Daddy's not letting go." Days passed. Therapy brought breakthroughs instead of silence. Meals filled with soft voices, not loud, not perfect, but brave. Laughter bloomed in the garden like spring flowers. Lucas raced his car fast as the wind. Lily hummed little songs when sunlight warmed her face. The mansion lived again. Jonathan worked less, played more, loved louder. And Elena became part of them. Not hired help, family. One evening, pillow fort chaos in the living room. Jonathan and Elena watched from across the room. Firelight turned their smiles gold. Jonathan leaned closer. "When I hired you, I didn't believe anything would change." Elena smiled softly. "And now?" Now, his gaze drifted to his children alive again. "I believe in miracles." Elena's breath caught. Jonathan looked into her eyes, searching for courage. Elena, after all of this, will you stay? Her heart skipped. I don't want to be anywhere else. His relief turned into the softest smile, genuine. The first she'd seen from him. Something shifted. Jonathan reached out, slow, giving her the choice. She didn't pull away. Their fingers intertwined, quiet promise made. Not rushed, not forced. A beginning. Night deepened. Elena tucked the children into bed. Tiny smiles, sleepy eyes. Elena, stay, Lily whispered. Elena brushed her hair gently. I'll be right here until you're dreaming. Lucas clutched his car, then whispered, Elena, family. Her heart swelled, tears of pure joy falling softly. Jonathan watched from the doorway, a full heart in a tired body. As she stepped into the hall, he whispered, Thank you for giving them their voices back. Elena shook her head. No, they always had voices. They just needed love louder than fear. Jonathan reached up, wiping a tear from her cheek. Her breath hitched. You saved us, he whispered. Elena placed a hand over his heart. We saved each other. Thunder rolled softly outside, no longer threatening, just a distant reminder that storms can pass. Warmth filled the mansion. Light returning to a home that once drowned in shadows. Lucas and Lily slept peacefully, silence lifted from their tiny shoulders forever. Jonathan held Elena's hand as they walked away from the darkness of yesterday and into a future full of light, a future where voices would never be silenced again, a future called family.